Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Boy, am I excited for today's episode. I am so excited. Before I introduce you to our guest, here's a quote just for this episode. Bosses are there to punish you and catch you in the act of doing something wrong. Mentors are there to encourage you to catch you in the act of doing something good. And you go to a mentor when you're struggling and you need help. Dennis, you, man, my great friend, Dennis, you is on the show today. We met many years ago for the first time in Las Vegas, had the opportunity to get inside of his mind. And Dennis has been mentoring, he's been learning, he's been doing, he's been teaching influencers, mentors, coaches, leaders, owners around the world for going on, well, more than 2 decades. He's the founder, leader of Blitz Metrics, and a great friend. He's been in done well over 730 speaking engagements in 17 countries, 5 continents. Beyond all the accolades, just an amazing, solid friend, good person. I'm so excited to have you back on the show, my friend. Man, thanks for coming back. Or really the first time on the show.
Yeah. After that intro, I'm sure I can live up. All right.
Thanks for coming on the show. This is way too long. Oh, and I was wanted to say this. Man,
Yeah.
see this right here?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's right.
Just so everybody
1 minute
knows,
video.
Dennis supported me, 30 Days of Thought all those years ago. We have right in the book, Hook, Ignite, Pain, basically a breakdown of how to do a 1 minute video because you're the dollar a day guy. And 30 Days of Thought,
Hmm.
it's in the book, and we still talk about the book. I do podcasts on the book now, and I was reminiscing earlier on this, and this was you. You helped me
Yeah.
all those years ago. So, man, thank you.
Yeah. And the book is what shows up when you type in Culture Matters, Jay Durant.
I well, I need a coaching lesson for sure. So, man, it's so great to have you. If you're listening to the show, you follow Dennis, pay attention to what he says. He knows he's the master. So, thank you for coming back. Hope you heard my quote. It was you. You said that all those years ago.
Yeah. The a proper mentor is there to catch you in the act of doing good, but is also there to be a cheerleader, a boss, a policeman, a project manager, a consoler, all these different roles, which I think you know better than anybody how that's part of culture.
Thanks. I appreciate that. What do our listeners that are the entrepreneur, they started the business, they're in the thick of it, they want to take it to the next level. It's like I'll think for them for a second. How how, how long am I going to do this before anybody cares? What's your advice to us?
Well, no one cares about any of us intrinsically, but if we tell them stories and we share experiences that create value for them, which of course you hear a lot of people saying, then that's how you resonate. And our personal brand, our reputation is what other people say about us, not what we say. And I see
Mm,
the majority of people, they're just talking about themselves. If I Google their name, that's that's your brand. It's what Google says about you. But most people have never thought about their reputation, even though that's arguably the most important thing we have as entrepreneurs. And they never think about how to extend that to be able to grow the business. They think growing the business means hiring more people, having SOPs, hiring agencies, doing marketing. All those things are well and good. But unless you have a strong reputation, it doesn't matter how many people see you. And I think it starts with being able to train Google on who you are. So I thought maybe I would show you as a search engine engineer
yeah. You want me
what
to give
this
you a
looks like.
host?
Yeah, yeah, or give me the co-host. And I think this is great for anybody. I don't care whether you have $1 million a year business or $50 million a year
If
business.
I make you the host, does it stop recording?
Just accept, I sent you a
Oh,
request. Just
got it.
accept
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
See,
a
you're already
co-host.
teaching me. I don't know how to use this, and I've done this a lot of times.
So, okay, so
Awesome.
I do a search on Google, culture matters. And then here, you see this object here with the two blue pills?
Oh, wow. Yes.
This
Overview, review.
this upside down L is a knowledge panel. So here are the regular search results, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know,
Okay.
but
Okay.
here you have this object. And then if I click on the triple dots you see here, and I click on share or click
Yeah.
on claim this knowledge panel, I click share, you see this ID,
Yep.
KGS J4B4SBR, that is the ID, the object ID for that book, 30 Days of Thought, right?
Wow.
So what Google's trying to do, now remember, I'm a search engine engineer. I built the analytics at a search engine 25 years ago, shows you how old I am. I think of it as there's all this information on the internet, including social media as another source of information. I'm just trying to understand what is 30 Days of Thought. And me as a search engine, I'm looking at, there's a podcast, there's Jay Duran, there's a YouTube, there's all these, there's what people say about it. There's other people that have been on your podcast, right? People who have mentioned you. And I'm trying to take all these pieces of information and tie them together because it ties to, notice, this object, apologize for geeking for a moment, but I think it's
I love
worthwhile to
this. Please
understand.
keep going. Yep.
This object, a book by Jay Duran, has associated objects like you as an author. So Jay Duran is an author. This, you see all these colored boxes? That's a full knowledge panel. And so no matter what kind of entrepreneur, you could be Lance Bachman or Tommy Mello or whatever. If I think of Lance Bachman, what do I think of? I think of certain businesses. I think of One SEO. I think of the conferences. I think
Yep.
of, investing. I think, and so all this information, notice, Jay, because you practice what you preach about culture matters and helping businesses, that is reflecting back to all the things that are showing up here, including and especially when other people are creating content that ties to you, because that's adding more signal, more meat on the bone, if you will, right?
Okay.
Now, let me show you something that is kind of interesting. So it says, so Google, in its best understanding of who Jay Duran is, thinks you're an author, which you are, but you do lots of other things too. And then if I click on the triple dots and I click claim this knowledge panel, which everyone here should be doing, claim this knowledge panel, I see this blue button get verified. This means you have not yet claimed your knowledge panel. So why is that important?
Get verified.
Why is it
Why,
important
why,
to click?
why is that important? Yeah, why is that important?
What do you think is more valuable? Getting verified on Instagram, verified on Facebook, verified on Twitter, or verified on Google?
Well, I think that if people, I'm just a guess, but if people, if we the people, we the people
Yeah,
looking for answers, I'm going to Google. I go to Google and type in questions. I
yeah.
haven't really integrated with the Chat GPT and stuff, and that's how I kind of start my search.
Hmm.
And so that would be something that comes to mind. I ask questions on Google. So if Google has the more clear Google is on me, someone might ask a question that leads them to see me as an
Yeah.
authority or me as something of
So I
influence.
built it. I built a tool that's, as an engineer,
Wow.
I use Google has this thing called the Knowledge Graph API, which is a fancy way of saying you can submit queries on various objects and see what shows up. And this is not the same as doing a regular Google search. This requires a little bit of programming, but I built a tool. Anyone can use it. It's free, right? You don't have to log in or pay any money or anything like that. And I did a search for Jay Duran, and it says there's 22 results in Google's Knowledge Graph. Okay. Now here's one Jay Duran. You see this ID 11TC, whatever. That's kind of like a social security number that Google has on
Okay.
this object, the ID of this object. And then here's another one. Here's another ID. And then here's another, like, there's all these Jay Durans, and which one is the right Jay Duran, right?
Wow.
Now, if we click on the first one, this has got a whole bunch of random stuff, some of which is you, and some of which is maybe is not you, but I think it's mostly you, right? Looks like it is, but it's partial because this particular object has only an Instagram associated with it. And if I go to the second one, and by the way, this first one has a confidence score of 24,
Wow.
meaning there's not much, like the more stuff you have associated with this object. Like the more meat there is on the bone, I'm not saying just like the total amount of content, but the total amount of content plus how trustworthy this content is and how authoritative it is and how legit it is. Not just like I'm going to make 100 pictures of my dog and increase my confidence score. That doesn't work like that, right? But like, you know, things that are meaningful that Google will say like, oh, this actually ties with this carries some weight. You don't have to have a Wikipedia. You don't have to be famous, you know. And I click on the second one and I can see this second object. These first two are you. This one is some other guy,
Oh
right?
my God, I have a twin.
And then here's this co-host of Single on a Saturday Night. Is that you? I don't think that's you, right? And then here's all these other Jay Durans, right? And then
Holy
this is
moly.
yours. This is also you, 30 Days of Thought. But notice what's happening here is that Google's saying, I don't know who Jay Duran is because as far as Google knows, there's 22 Jay Durans and you,
Wow.
Culture Matters, 30 Days of that is being spread across all. I can click on any one of these. I can click on this one, right? And some of these are yours and some of these are not. And so what is this tell? What are we telling Google here, or what is Google telling us about Jay Durant?
Well, it's not fully available, all the aspects of what my value proposition is to potential customers.
So
That's something I
Google's
scrapped.
confused at who you are, and if you haven't made clear who you are to your team members, to your customers, to your employees, to Google, whatever, it's just, you know, doesn't matter what you say if it's not
Well,
clear
I'm
enough
not the
for.
best salesperson, so I need help. So
But you don't
Google
have to
better figure
sell.
out who I am.
I'm
Yeah,
not a
well, that's
salesperson,
what
but
comes to mind is like Google, if the less clear Google is on me, the more friction I could be leveraging Google to have less friction in a potential relationship with a customer. Is
well,
that
arguably, if you have a strong culture,
yeah,
which is defined in all sorts of different ways, don't you think that if I Google it, that it should show up, right? A strong
absolutely. I
culture, a
think it's
strong brand, a
yeah.
strong reputation, things that your company actually stands for, not the HR poster that says, we believe in working hard to
Yes,
take
sir.
care of the customer and like,
Yep.
no, but you actually have a real culture, not just words out of the CEO's mouth, right? Embodied in how people actually think and how people behave and how they think, not the like 7 principles that everyone has to remember, right? That I'm not talking about
Absolutely.
superficial culture. I'm talking about the real culture, right? If you truly
Love
have a
it.
culture, won't it be reflected into Google, right?
Is
In
part of
fact,
that
if I go
because
to ChatGPT
reviews,
and I
like
do a new chat,
people leave reviews on us and so on. Like there's
reviews is
I have
one.
some reviews
Re,
on
uh,
the book.
yes, reviews are one signal. It's one of many signals, right?
Mm.
A lot of local businesses, they think more about reviews, right? Especially like
Ah,
in
okay.
more. Okay, right, okay. So the test of whether we have a strong culture is if we ask Google or we ask ChatGPT, yeah?
Yes.
So
Follow.
initially question, who's Jay Duran? And so where's ChatGPT getting this information?
No idea. I mean, I
It's
would
from
speculate
Google, it's from
throughout the
social
internet.
media. Yes, it's not like some separate thing. A lot of people are saying like, oh, it's gonna, you know, these AI tools are gonna kill Google. No, it's just another source of information. Just like when we saw your knowledge panel, Jay,
Okay.
where was it? This one, here, I'll go back. This knowledge, no, this one here. This knowledge panel, what what share of this information is percentage wise? Just rough guess. What percent of this stuff is social media?
20%?
20? It looks like 99 to me.
Well, I don't see
Social,
anything. I'm just
social,
guessing.
social. These are these are social. Look, social, 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 social. So you see where I'm mousing? Social, social,
No, no,
social.
it's not
Every
screen
single
sharing anymore.
one of these. Oh, it's not screen sharing. Okay, sorry. Let me go back over here. All right. So looking at your knowledge panel, What percent of these items are social media?
Oh,
Almost every
that,
single one of them.
yeah, that now
Right?
I see it.
So,
Like
so
the
a lot of
IG
people
thing,
have
the
said
LinkedIn thing.
ridiculous
Yep.
things, all that. Those are all social. So the question is, how is people have said a few years ago that social media was going to kill search, right? Well, guess what? Social media is what powers search because the
Social media
stories and your
powers
relationships,
search.
all of these things here, all of the experiences that you have, the relationships, your reputation, of which reviews is one component. Yes, reviews are great for your GMB, but for your overall brand and culture and business and all that, reviews are a tiny piece of the whole thing, right?
Hmm.
So if we see that this is what Google thinks about Jay Duran, which is combined, what Google's trying to do is let me look across all this information about Jay Duran, and some of these are other. There's like that professor, some other Jay Duran that did these. Like, which one is the, I've because there's a lot of people. There's 22 people with the same name, right?
Google
So
doesn't really know me.
who knows we which is what people do. We want to educate Google by giving it clear information about who you are, what you stand for, what you have done, these 30 days of thought, right? So, and wouldn't you say a strong culture is clear values that are consistent across how you behave, consistent across your
Yeah,
team members, consistent across your work, right? Because if you say
agree.
one thing and your reputation something else, then I would argue you're out of line, right?
Yeah, lack
So,
of integrity, congruence.
or what do you want to call it? So a lot of people that have said social media is going to kill search don't realize social media is what powers search. It's like one and this, it's the same thing, right? They're just different levels. They're feeding each other. In the same way, other people are
Profound.
saying, oh, AI this and AI that, right? How many of your friends have told you, oh, check out this AI tool and this, and it's going to like revolutionize the world and get all hyped up like Bitcoin or whatever it is, you know?
Oh, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of that.
Okay. So the answer, and even Michael Stelzner, who's like the most famous guy in social media marketing, he said that uh, search, Google would be killed by AI because AI was going to provide better search results, and people are just going to go to AI, and AI gives you the one answer, and AI does all these magical things, right? You hear a lot of people saying that, right? It's wrong because where is the AI getting its information? Do you think the AI is somehow replicating a search engine? No, it's pulling in the same, like literally here, when I asked, who is Jay Duran? What's it say? I don't know,
Whoa, it says,
right?
as of my knowledge cutoff in October 2023, I don't have any specific information about a person named Jay Duran. It's possible that he is a public figure or has become notable after that date. If you can provide more context or details about him, it's like being cut off from Dennis. I'm being a little fun here, but it's like being cut off from God. I don't
Yeah, so
know. I don't know, my child. I need to know, Jay. What does Jay have to do to get connected? I'm
we
just using this as a
know,
metaphor. It's a metaphor. It's like I need to be
yeah,
connected to this.
but I'm sharing this in such a way that it's valuable for everybody.
Oh, I love it.
So everyone who's an entrepreneur, you've got to be able to ask the AI, who is, insert your name, who is your company, who is, the name of your products and whatnot, right?
Well,
But
I'm thinking out loud, but is part of the reason that all of us listening
uh-huh.
should be able to get a clear response about who we are from this what is from this is
You,
because that would mean that we are clear to essentially humanity itself. I mean, like we're all connected at a deeper level. So, we're
your culture,
identifiable. Well,
so
we're like,
Jay, your culture
yeah,
is not what you say. It's what reality is reflected back by search engines, by people, right? A lot of people think they can say something and they're a brand and say that they stand for honesty and hard work and integrity
it's
and all.
only
They
half
people
true.
say, well, people could say stuff like that,
You're
but
right.
your brand, your culture, is what Google or the AI says about you, right? It's like a lot of people that say that they're famous or say they're important. Yeah, you say you are, but are you? You
Absolutely.
like you could say that you're skinny and that you're healthy and whatever, but if you step on the scale and you're 400 pounds and 5'2", I'm going to say, well, I know that's what you're saying, but the data is showing
It's
something
a
else.
great
So
point. It's a great point. In the world,
it's
yep,
very
makes
easy. It's
sense.
very easy to bullshit about culture and about personal brand and that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, yes.
Now you are talking to an engineer who's like, okay, great. You say you stand for this one thing. Let's see. Is it true? Right? I mean, look, this is basically a mirror, right? The AI tools and Google, and you
Love it.
could choose your favorite one, is a mirror to hold you accountable to actually the thing that you say you are, right? So I could say, what does Jay Duran stand for? Who is he associated with? What
Wow.
is he credible on? Okay. And if the answer, if the AI or the bot or whatever doesn't give you the answer that you want, it's like getting mad at the scale. So the fat person getting mad at the scale,
I
right?
love it. You're right.
Fix it.
Self-awareness
So
key.
yeah. So there is some, and this is like not bad, right? So why do you think the AI is giving this partial answer on who you are?
Well, if I'm following you correctly, the information delineated through social media platforms, um, it feeds Google, which then
Yeah.
ChatGPT aggregates information from and Google, and it's like
Yeah.
a filter within a filter. And
Yep. It's a
now,
layer on top of a layer.
yeah,
Social
yep,
feeds, listen, social feeds search, search feeds AI. So if your AI
yep.
answers aren't good, if your search results aren't very good, it means that there's no underlying activity via social. Now, the good news for you, Jay, is that Google has some basic understanding because Google's been smart enough to figure out that this Instagram and this YouTube and this book
Dennis,
and
do
these
me a
other
favor.
objects are associated with you, right? Yeah.
Do me a favor. Say that what you just said one more time. There was a little lag. I want to make sure the audience gets that.
The key is like for you, Jay, because you have so many experiences and you've created so much content, you've interviewed so many people, that shows up on social media. It shows on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter and your Instagram, on your YouTube. And so Google's been able to kind of figure out sort of that all of these things are associated with Jay Duran, including, like I showed you, we came from the book, right? You see here, in the book is and over on the right side, this is the knowledge panel. So these are knowledge panels that are together. The knowledge panel for your book links to the knowledge panel of you as an author, right? All these objects are, like people in a movie, or this director, this actor, all these things are connected together, right? So the good news is Google understands sort of who you are,
Mm.
but the content that you've produced, so these things on Threads or Instagram or YouTube, the actual content within the posts themselves, those stories, Google does not understand that. And the
Oh,
reason why is that here, let's just go look at your YouTube, which is part of Google. You would think, oh, well, if I put it on YouTube and it's part of Google, then they understand, right? No, but Google is like this huge, huge multinational corporation where they have all these different departments that kind of don't talk to each other. It's like separate companies, even though technically YouTube is part of Google, right?
like a
So
subsidiary.
yeah, it is. But these companies here people, right? Amazing, right? You have hundreds of these, right? But what you've not done is taken, let's just say, this one, right? And there's a conversation here for 38 minutes, but Google doesn't understand it, therefore the AI doesn't understand it. So what you have to do
By the way,
is
great, great guy for you. I need to introduce you to him. He's wonderful.
love to. So look,
Wonderful. He would love you. He's a great client for you.
here's a transcript. Right, so here's all the words that you said, right? I copied it. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say summarize this YouTube video with Jay and guest. So we can publish it as a blog post. Okay, paste. There, I pasted it in, right? I didn't
Yep.
listen to the 38 minutes, but now that it knows about it, I can turn it into an article so Google can
Whoa.
understand it better. And now the AI is going to understand it. And notice it's taking a little while because I've already pre-filled it with context. Remember, I didn't just say, turn this into an article. I said, like, who is Jay? How are we connected? Like, I've kind of warmed it up a little bit, right? And now I can ask it to do
Unbelievable.
something. So if I turn this into an article, I'm creating more corroborating signals on who is Jay, who he's associated with, what has he done, right? And you started with your quote, just like you did with mine, right?
Whoa.
And here's this whole thing. Now, if you turn all these things into articles, then all the AIs, not just ChatGPT, it could be Gemini, it could be Anthropic, it could like all the AIs will now understand, right? And Google will understand better because you haven't assimilated the information. You understand when you ask the AI, you've spent a lot of time playing with the AIs, right?
Not even 1 second, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, of the people who do,
Shame
they
on me.
love
I
the
mean,
idea that it
shame
gives you
on
the
me.
one assimilated result, right?
I
Instead of you
want
having to
to
click
after
on all the
seeing
stuff.
this master
Yeah.
class. Very
So then I'll
impressed.
say, Jay says that I should talk to Michael
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
What synergies do you think we have? What questions should I ask him? Should I ask Michael? Now, the reason why I can ask the AI as an advisor to do this is because the AI already knows who I am. The AI doesn't know who you are, right? But if the AI knows who you are, it can act on your behalf, right? So the AI
To
knows about
see where the
dollar a
alignment.
day,
Yeah.
about 1 minute videos, and the AI probably knows that you've put 1 minute video in the book, and this whole kind of stuff, right? But now the AI is like a PR agent. It's like my own assistant. It's doing all these things for me, right? And then I could even say, I don't have 38 minutes to watch that video. Can you pull out the clips that you think are relevant to me,
Yeah. Well, and Michael
right?
values mentorship.
Yeah,
You guys had like I would say, the differences in your childhoods actually are the inverse. So they're actually similar, but on the other sides of the spectrum.
yeah.
But he values
I have a
mentorship.
lot
You
of home
value
service
mentorship, and
businesses.
you're a mentor.
Yeah, we do a lot of mentorship. Yeah, this is great. Now, now hone in on mentorship
Wow, it gives
for
all.
us both.
When he
Okay,
has a desire to grow his business and is willing to invest, he actually Googles everything. Like he's a
good.
Googler. He's the type of
Yeah,
person that he's self-taught. He didn't finish school.
yeah,
He had to leave very, very, very young because of his story. He's had to figure it out on his own. We've even talked about it. He's been on the show twice, talked about how he Googles things to get information and to learn and to figure it out.
yeah. So now, he's Googling stuff. So Google, when he Googles me, he's going to know who I am, right? And whatever AI tool he's using, saying, so tell me, I'm going to meet Dennis. What should I know about him? How is it relevant to me? It's going to tell him. So the AI is networking for you, right?
It's amazing. Yeah, the AI, in a sense, can do what people like you and me do when we introduce people that we care about, that we've kind
Yeah.
of vetted, in a sense, in our culture.
Yeah. And so we talked about mentorship, and here it's
Wow.
talking about that. Now I'm like, all right, who else is like Michael? I could say, who else should I have on the Coach You podcast? Who else is a mutual friend between Jay Duran and me that I should probably talk to?
Could it
And what should
really
we
tell
talk
you
about?
that? It could really tell
Yes,
you. It knows
if
everybody
if it knows who you are.
if it knows who
If
I
it
am.
doesn't know who
Understand?
you are, I mean, the whole point. So this entire thing here that we're talking about, that I'm showing you, is we need to train Google on who we are.
Yeah.
Google does not know, as you can see, and this is nothing, no disrespect to you or Michael or
Oh, I don't take it that
whoever,
way.
Lance Bachman, but if you haven't organized your things so perfectly clearly, there's a way to do it, schema and all these SEO sorts of things. Google doesn't know who you are. It just like this is clear proof. Google is confused at who you
Well,
are,
first of
Jay.
all, this could help me know who I am.
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
process of helping Google understand who I am, that helps
Yeah,
me understand who I am. It's almost like writing a memoir
It is. It's a person. It's a life coach. Let me show you this one thing. So
I love
this is my
this.
friend.
Keep going. More,
This is my
more.
friend. This is my friend Caleb,
This is
and he
awesome.
started out as a young adult in our program and was a nobody. And now he's produced almost 1,000 videos, as you can see here, right?
Wow, good for him. And he has
Right. And
37,000. He has
it's
75.4x my subscribers, basically.
it's not the number of subscribers. What matters is his impact, right? And if you look at the people that have been on his show, it's the who's who in
Wow.
finance. It's the who's who in real estate and sales. The top people in insurance and financial services, like Chris Nagel. Look at these other TikTok guys. I mean, anyway,
Wow.
Mr. Burr. Anyway, I'm not here to like talk about how amazing these people are and what a big deal it is.
No, this is
What I
good.
want to
Though.
show
Keep
you is
going.
what we've done. Listen, what we've done is we've uploaded we've given all this stuff to ChatGPT and said, who else should Caleb talk to? And reach out to these other people and invite them onto the podcast, saying, hey, Jay, I'm Dennis, I'm Caleb's assistant, and I think you'd be a great guest on Caleb's podcast because you talk about this and this, and Caleb has also interviewed so and so, so and so, and so and so, who are the not just random people, but the ones most relevant to you, right?
Extremely
Oh,
efficient.
Caleb's been with Bradley, and we talked about this thing with Bradley, and you and I both know Bradley, and this whole kind
Huh?
of thing. So it's very personalized, and then we think of that as like an assistant. If I had an employee that was doing this, I'm having the AI do the role of what a really smart employee would do. But to your point, Jay, can push this data, like all the stats and whatever it is, all feedback, and what do I need to know? Like, tell me about me. Tell me about any hidden like blind spots that I might have. What else? What should I be doing? What questions should I be asking that I'm not asking? What should I stop doing that I'm doing? Advise me, right? But it can only
Yes.
advise you as well as it understands who you are. So if you don't
Yeah.
feed Google an understanding of who you are, now the AI can't do it. But it's the layers. It's the social layer to the search layer to
Well,
the AI
Dennis, I
layer.
should even say this, like, we have a we're an advisory consulting partner. Like that's how we actually support ourselves. We pay our mortgage, we pay our employees. We have a consulting firm that's
Yeah,
behind the scenes. So none of that has been clear to this internet whatsoever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Google definitely doesn't know who I am.
But that's so easy to fix.
And something, of course, I've always struggled with is, you know, I don't want it to be about us. I want it to be about the work we do for the people that we serve. But of course, that leads to it being unclear of what we do, which makes it harder for
You,
people to understand who
mhm.
we are.
Jay, when you honor them, you are building their brand too. So I'll show you an example. Name any favorite like movie, for example, or TV or something.
In Interstellar,
Interstellar.
yeah, that's that space movie, that 10-year anniversary.
Yeah, let's search for Interstellar. I don't know why the internet connection's not work very well. Let me try another tab. Let me try Interstellar. So what's going to happen is the movie cast, all this. Google knows that Interstellar, if this will pop up, has who's that guy who keeps getting in trouble drinking and whatever. He's the maker.
Well,
I don't know
Matthew
why this isn't showing
McConaughey
up.
is the main, I think, but I don't know
Yeah, Matthew
about
McConaughey.
his. Oh,
Yeah,
is that him? Yeah.
yeah.
Right
Not
now,
showing
I
up.
can only see the
Let me try.
YouTube thing. Oh, there it is.
Okay, a little bit laggy here. But the point is that when we look at Interstellar, there's all the objects that are associated, you know, Matthew McConaughey and the other actors, and here's the producer, and here, the studio that did it. I know it's not. I think my connection all yeah, it's not my
All
internet
right,
connection is
we'll
not
work
working too
through it.
well. But the point is when you're advising these other clients, you help them, you take a podcast with them and you put it out there, you're helping their brand and your brand at the same time.
Here we go.
So look,
Um,
it came back. So it came back, and we can see the Interstellar, right? So Interstellar, notice here, cast McConaughey. Think of yourself as like you as a podcast host. You're a movie producer. So let's say you produced Interstellar, and here's these other podcast guests that you have, right? These are all knowledge panels, right?
mm.
So you know the whole like you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. That's what's
Yeah,
going on here,
and
right?
76 of our guests have been on the show between 2 and 10 times. I like to have people come back.
Yeah. Now imagine you're able to tie these things together, and people also look for these other guests and what they're involved in and their other businesses, and we could put those synergies together, right?
Our guests,
How
because
amazing would that be?
The Culture Matters podcast. Actually, I want your opinion on this.
Yeah.
The Culture Matters podcast is my culture. It's my community. It's people I care about and love and have relationships with, and it's the people they care about. Because people that come on the show, like I said, multiple times, invite their friends to be interviewed or to their friends to come on the show.
Yeah.
It's it's my culture. It's a culture. It
You
is.
literally are doing the thing you say. Yeah. But now imagine you extend the culture so that instead of it being like a private conversation with you and them, other people could see it and it helped build their brand. So it's awesome spending time with you, Jay, but imagine if other people could see the conversations
Yeah,
that we
we
have.
need to level that up. I'm in. I mean, I'm all about
Yeah.
that. I
So,
I want to be open source, like, right? Culture is an
yeah.
open society, not a closed society. It's not a
But if
closed
it's
system.
if it's open, you have to make it visible to Google and the AI, and it's
Agree.
not. You say it's open, but the reality is it's closed, as we saw.
Yeah, we got to open it up more. I need to open up more,
Yeah.
way more. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's your point.
so
I'm in agreement with that. I
and it's easy.
feel that. I feel that.
Yeah. Well, good. Let's fix it. And everyone else who's, the other 76 some guests, they can see your example that you and I, we practice what we preach, and then they can do it for themselves too. And they will have a VA, or they could use the AI, or they have a son or daughter, whatever. They can implement all the stuff that we've published on how to
And
do it, right?
and I should say this because it's the truth. When I was just with Brad a couple weeks ago, he called
Uh-huh.
me out in a healthy way, like a great, hey Jay, you say read, write, speak, but you haven't spoken in years.
Well,
So and so that I have not been living my what I say. That I want to be like I'm aware of that. I have lost my voice in a lot of ways, and I'm trying to reclaim it.
but
And
this is speaking. It's a different form of speaking.
well, I need to do more, and I want to be congruent with our teachings.
But if
So I
you're
love
with
it.
Brad, imagine you make videos with Brad or whatever it is because you're meeting with Brad, and Brad is like every 3 seconds is like a one-liner from him, right?
He's so funny.
But then imagine you made a post about it saying here's something that Brad said, and then you put it on Twitter and you dollar a day boosted it to fans of Brad Lee, or a
I
dollar
mean,
a day
we've
boosted it
spent
to Instagram.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours together. I need
But
to
is
get
it
back.
visible, right? You got to make it visible. So here, the proof is you can say that spent time with him. You can say he's a good friend,
Yeah, you're right.
but
It's just,
the proof is
Fugazi.
it. Can I see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious if you
So
could see our friendship there. That'd be nice. It's only a
so
couple
you can see
podcasts,
there's
but real,
stuff here,
the
but
gold is
here's an
offline for
and
sure.
here's another three of this, right? But you're dropping bombs, okay? And hold up. But imagine you dollar a day boosted it so more people could see it. Now this was 5 years ago, right?
Recently we did a nice solid
Oh,
argument on there, but I've been on 3 times.
but
Yeah.
only but only
6 years.
292 people have seen this in the last 5 years.
The new one I think has a couple thousand, but um, oh yeah, you're right. The old one, yeah, episode 120. That's not episode 78. That's actually episode 120. It's a
But
mistake. How
but
even to
do you
add
hear
that, that's
do
a
you hear the
mistake,
point
like,
I'm
which
making?
is drives me nuts.
But do you see the point I'm making?
100%.
You and Brad are having you spent an hour together. Like, what's an hour of Brad Lee's time worth? That's amazing, right? And so few people have seen it.
Now we've
Imagine if you
hundreds of hours together.
okay, but whatever it is, this example, you spent an hour with Brad Lee, only a few hundred people have seen it. What if we boosted this out to your audience, to his audience, and to other people where
Oh,
we
it'd be
asked
huge.
ChatGPT, who else do you think, based on whatever you talked about in this Dropping Bombs episode, who else do you think should see this? And we asked the AI about that, right? I could literally, this is not hypothetical. I could take this. Remember, YouTube always shows this transcript, right?
Oh, this is great.
And I
Yeah.
copy this. This is not theoretical. Most people just talk so theoretically.
Yeah, you get shit done. I
Jay
love it.
was,
This is an amazing
uh,
podcast.
and it's not like, oh, well, I'm so busy. I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, you're
Jay was on Brad's podcast,
your
and
work
here
ethic's awesome.
is here's what would boost this episode to on YouTube so more people can see it, right? Because you understand we can boost on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on all these other channels, right?
Mm.
So I pasted it in, and now it's going to tell us who else it should be. Because obviously it's you and Brad are the two most relevant ones, but there's other people, maybe Jocko Willink, maybe Michael that we just talked to, right? So the AI is thinking about it right now, and it's giving us ideas. And then these could be people who are probably on your podcast, or people that should be on your podcast, right?
That's a great point. Right now, if I want somebody on the show I don't know, I just say, hey, you want to come on a podcast?
Yeah.
And that's not the highest converting medium.
It's also kind of random, but imagine if the outreach was done where the AI was super, super personalized, right?
Genius.
So
Yeah, very,
it's
very
saying like,
helpful.
okay, here's the audience based on what you talked about here, right? Based on what you talked about in the podcast episode. And here are these folks here, right?
Oh, this could
And
even
here's
get
people
me
that you
on
should either
podcast.
have on your podcast. Yes, it can work multiple ways,
This could
right?
be used as
And I said,
someone
based on the
sending this
content.
out to podcasts and say, hey,
Hmm.
Jay was on episode 78,
Yep.
120, and 703 with Brad dropping
Hmm.
bombs, top podcast in
Hmm.
the country, business for
Yep.
business.
Yeah.
These are the topics that Jay's talked about with Brad. Would you have him on your podcast?
To get more powerful podcast appearances. Okay.
This is amazing. You're the real deal in the sense that you're actually using right now live for all of us,
Yeah.
showing us masterclass how to use ChatGPT to really take a business to the next level. It's
Yeah.
which so valuable. Thank you, by the way. This is so valuable. People talk
Yeah.
about this stuff and it's so abstract and they come across to me as grifters and you're just over here living 7 years in the future. It's hilarious.
I'm not talking theoretically. Look, it's like talking about cooking and how I love to cook and baking versus let's actually start, kneading the dough and turn it like let's
Oh,
actually
you're a
make the thing right
beast.
now,
Yeah,
right?
it's
There's a
amazing.
difference. And to do that, right? So it's build I said, okay, apply dollar for Jay. Two, and some of my friends, I was the MC at a conference for AI stuff, right? So 3 days of the top people in AI, and I didn't deserve to be the MC, but that's me, fine. And they told me the people who win in AI are not like the technical engineer people or a lot. It's people who actually have clear vision,
Clear,
which I
say
thought
that
was
again.
interesting.
Clear
People
what?
who are
They have what?
empathetic, who have the soft skills, clear intention.
See,
They have the soft skills, they have a clear goal, clear mission, clear culture,
yeah, I think God put you in my life to
right?
get me on ChatGPT because I think I could really use this tool with my questions.
Yeah, you can do that. You can use it. So I'm not here to try to sell you on how you should use it. What I show you and everyone else here is that if you have a strong culture defined as, what you stand for and all these things, then that's actually, I consider culture synonymous with intention, right?
Mm.
Not this vague vision kind of thing, but a clear intention of where you're trying to go. So if I say, hey, apply Dennis's dollar a day strategy to accomplish this based on these very clear, specific values, right? If you tell the AI what you want and what you stand for, and you feed it who you are, and you feed it your relationships, and you feed it all this stuff, it's the godlike power. It's this crazy power, right? But people aren't
Dennis,
doing this, or maybe they
I
don't know yet,
really,
or maybe it's too early. I don't know, whatever, right?
I'm gonna get this episode in, um, I'm gonna text this episode to a handful of our regular guests because they need to listen and
Hey,
watch
look,
this.
we
Sometimes I'll
built a
do
plan
that.
for you. Now,
Well,
now have VA execute the plan, or have a team of little AI bots do the work. Just one really smart VA or whatever to do all this stuff for you. See, it's actually telling it to do it. I can tell it, okay, based on the people that you think would be the best guests on my podcast, go ahead and write individual outreach notes to each of them based on similar people, or who have been on the podcast before, and I know these other people and whatever, right? Hey,
yes,
Brad, I'd
exactly.
love to be on your podcast. And I was and you know these other people who were on your podcast were also on my podcast. That kind of stuff, right? Like, go ahead and do all the research and write all of them for me and send them out.
I have a
That is not
question for
future
you.
stuff. That is today. We're doing it today. Yeah.
Like, question
Go.
is, so I started recording monologues as well on the Culture Matters podcast, where I'm talking,
Yeah.
I'm sharing, I'm going through 30 days of thought myself and putting that out there
Yeah.
because the podcast only had me interviewing people and I wanted to share other aspects of who I am with the audience. Do you think that
Yeah.
my head's in the right place by putting out more of me?
You can. Podcasts don't have to be co-created content. It can be solo content. It doesn't matter. I mean, they're all different angles, right? You choose all of them. It's like, today you like to drink orange juice? So I like to drink orange juice and lemonade and grape juice. Like, it's all good. All flavors, right? Get all of it there, right?
Well, I'd love to have you back. I'm going to use this as an accountability where I'm going to take some action on your advice. I'm going to rewatch this myself.
Oh,
I'm challenging all the listeners to listen to this a couple times. Yeah, we had a little lag, but you know, take some responsibility yourself and listen to this a couple times. Dennis is more than gracious to teach extremely high value for us today. So thank you, my great friend. What's one way that the audience can
Google
get?
me. That's
Oh,
the
that's
thing.
really funny as
Yeah.
hell. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, go. I'm gonna tell the audience, Google Dennis and do whatever you can to retain him, his IP, Blitz metrics, and
It's free. I mean, obviously
yeah.
you can hire
No,
us
I'm
for
saying
coaching and that sort
figure
of
out
thing, but
how to, you know, there's as an old Chinese proverb, good things aren't cheap and cheap things are seldom good. So there's got to be, help Dennis. Send him. I'm tithing to your charity. Man, thanks for coming back to the show. You're the man. I appreciate you. And it's so good to see you.
you're awesome, Jay. And I can't wait to take this and repurpose it and then boost it so more people can see it. I want to practice what we preach.
Yeah, let's do it. This is the year. See, the my word for 2025, and for me, 2025 has already started.
Yeah.
Is intensity. This is my 33rd podcast recording since November 1st.
That's a lot. Wow.
I am doing 1,000 in the year of 2025, so I'm preparing for that now mentally. And
Wow.
so I know that with your help, we will make culture matter and not be and be more of integrity. And so thank you for your help and inspiration. And I can tell you this right now, you help with 30 Days Thought. People are still going through the book. We still do it. And it still matters and makes impact in people's lives. I just had a podcast with two men that go through this book all the time. They came on the Culture Matters podcast and we talked about this book. We talked about the different excerpts in this book. And
Amazing.
you help. This is your book too. So people still care about this book. So thank you for your help.
Thank you, Jay. You should
All
make a
right.
1 minute video summarizing what we just talked about and
Oh
post
man,
that
that's
on
a
the
good.
Instagram or whatever,
All right,
right?
that's I'm gonna
That's
write that down. That's my
that's
homework.
practicing what we preach.
One
Yeah,
minute video
yeah,
on what I learned we talked about.
yeah.
All right, Dennis, everyone listening, please follow Dennis. Google him and yeah, have
You're
a
the best, my brother.
yeah, you're the best.
Appreciate you.
Have a good day, my friend, and we will see you all next time on the Culture Matters podcast.